Ho, 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 and welcome to Predictocast, the podcast where we predict the plot of a movie we know nothing about. I'm Josh, and with me, as always, is Skinner. Hey, Skinner. Santa Skinner, in fact.
Are we I forgot this was a Christmas movie. You know, there is a giant Christmas tree in it.
Yes, that is right. We are both here, but also we are not alone. We are joined this week by a good friend of ours, good friend of the show, and our pen pal, Megan Sunday. Hi, Megan.
Hello. It's Christmas.
It's Christmas. It's Christmas adjacent.
It's almost Christmas-ish. This is Christmas week. If you are listening to this on the day it drops, Christmas is just around the corner, and we are here today to discuss Borrowed Hearts from 1997.
Yes.
Yeah, a year after Michael, which I bring up only because of Eric McCormack's hair.
Yes.
In this movie.
No, that's fair.
You know what? That's pretty accurate. My roommates watched this with me, and Laura, who was on the show last time we talked about Babes in Toyland, she said that he reminded her a little bit of like a weird mishmash of John Travolta and Paul Rudd kind of squished together.
I can see that.
Yeah, I can see his hair is distracting to me for the whole movie. Like literally every scene he's in, I'm like, look at that lettuce. It's just
I'm surprised there's no ponytail. He's a businessman. I would have thought a ponytail.
I think
that's for
Dave
greasy guys only.
Oh.
Yeah, I think Dave should have had a ponytail.
Yeah.
That would have been good. He strikes me as like, I wrote in my notes that Eric McCormack kind of looks like to me he was a combination of a guy who would have shown up on the Highlander series or some vampire in like Forever Night, like USA shows in the 90s.
Canadian USA shows of the 90s.
But he just has that look to him. Like he looks
amazing.
like my other roommate, David, and Skinner will appreciate this, said he looks like a Nightman villain.
He does.
I'm just always happy to hear a Forever Night reference, frankly.
But he just kind of looks like a vampire in a couple of these shots.
It's true. I do have to say, though, before we really get started, that I have to say something out of tradition, and I have to say it to Skinner. And do you know what it is, Skinner? You're my present this year.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Megan, how's the supply of Cheetos mac and cheese in your house right now?
Astonishing and large.
I hope you guys get through 2021 staying cheesy, because I know it's not easy.
So you have to explain that to me, because I don't know if
Oh goodness.
I may have sent a young William in her house 24 boxes of Cheetos mac and cheese, a variety pack.
Yeah.
Well,
he did.
Since Skinner is really the Santa of the podcast, because he really does love to just give to people. In fact, like as we're recording this, I got his Christmas gift to me, and I have to I'll tell you, Megan, what it is. It is a very bizarre thing that I love, and I will have to find a place to display it prominently. It is a VHS of live in concert dragon sound.
What?
So it's not a real thing. He had this made, right?
I had it custom made.
Yes. So it is a VHS of a concert film of dragon sound. I don't know what the actual tape itself is. It's got all kinds of weird incongruous things. Like the back of the VHS says 1982 Paragon, which was like a production or a releasing company in the 80s, but then on the actual tape itself it says Paramount, and it says 1993, and it says Full Moon Entertainment. So they're just mashing things together in a very fun way. But I have to read you this. Skinner's is a great human being, and I have to read you the quote on the back of the box.
Okay.
It says, "Dragon sound not only brought down the house musically, they also protected it from a rival gang using only their bodies." The Miami Gazette. So Skinner knows how to give gifts. He gives me a tape that probably contains a snuff film on it, and he gives your husband a bunch of cheesy Cheeto mac and cheese.
He did, yes.
A handful.
Just a touch. Just a bit.
Without warning as well.
And that was the best part, was this box arrived. We're just both going, what is that? Oh, my God.
Was there no note attached? So you
there
just
was
had to
once
assume?
we opened it.
Oh, okay.
A very formal note, which made it even funnier.
So yeah, we're talking about there could have been some like I think Zoe probably would have enjoyed that mac and cheese.
Yeah, she's, just a regular kid who just also wants to live in a mansion.
Just wants to live in a mansion. I mean, that all she wants, she's been a good kid most of the time, is to live in a gigantic mansion.
Yeah. That's
and,
what everybody wants.
Yeah.
And have an angel bring her dad back.
This is
From
verging on
the golf
this is
circuit.
verging on the Christmas movies we've done in the past, Skinner, where kids wish they ask Santa Claus to bring back their dead relatives.
I mean, Jerry's not dead, but
Surprisingly,
he should be
I
dead
thought
to
he was
them.
dead.
That why is the ending to this movie so complicated?
I thought he was either dead, and then the mom said something about, we'll see if he comes back. So I thought, oh, he left with another woman, and she's trying to not tell her daughter that. No, he left to con people and golf.
yeah, he's a fucking golf hustler.
A golf hustler? Is that even a thing? Unless you're in
Apparently.
Goldfinger.
Is Zoe a smidge too old to be told daddy's gone to be an astronaut?
Yes.
Yes.
I think by the time I was 5, I knew that you had to go be an astronaut when you were much younger, and you had to probably, be a pilot.
Because before all that, he is an actual golfer. He just gets thrown off the tour for messing up. We don't know exactly how. I don't know if he's a drunk or if he's just gambling too much to do his job. But so as a child, Zoe's like, my dad only ever talked about golf, so he must be an astronaut.
Yeah,
Playing golf on the moon.
Zoe.
I mean, he only ever talked about golf, so he's 15% of terrible white dads.
Well, my high school had a golf team. Oops, sorry, that's fine. No.
That's golf calling. The PGA Tour is like, hey,
Yeah,
stop
it
there
was-
slandering.
Yeah,
Please
they're
stop
like,
talking
don't
about golf."
stop talking shit about us.
Yeah, no, I went to high school in Florida, so yeah, my high school.
Oh,
had a
that
golf
makes
team.
sense.
Yeah.
Well, we had a golf team too. I was in Mississippi, so I don't know. Golf is big in the
Gulf
South,
states.
I guess.
The Gulf
states.
States.
The Gulf states want to
The
play
Gulf
golf.
of Mexico.
So, so Borrowed Hearts. I cannot. I will tell you guys this. I said it was 97, and when I was watching it last night, David, my other roommate, came in the middle of us watching it and kind of asked what year it was from, because he said, "Oh, this looks very 90s," and I said, "No, this came out in 2010."
Impossible. Okay, I know Roma Downey has looked generally the same from 1985 through 2010, but
Yeah.
Look at Eric McCormack's hair.
No, it was definitely 97, and I don't know why I had 2010 in my brain, but I was like, "There's no cell phones in this." I was like,
And cell phones would have solved a couple of problems.
very, very much so.
Or Google.
And Eric McCormack would have been higher up in the credits. Because this is an all Roma Downey production.
Oh, for
Roma
sure.
Downey in.
So I will expose some ignorance of mine. I know her primarily from Touched by an Angel.
Thank
I
God you
never
said
watched
that.
that show. I never watched that show, but I knew that show because it was on for a long time and it was very popular when it was on. Am I for some reason in my brain, I thought that she had an accent.
She does. She's Irish.
Okay, so I'm not wrong. So she's just covering it up here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although
you
they
don't-
write to it a couple of times. There's a point where she's talking about her ex-husband and she says that he phones occasionally.
Yes.
It's we don't say that. In, America, USA. Where
He
this
went
is
out to
taking
the
place.
bar and he got pissed.
Yeah. Oh, he's in hospital. You're like, what is happening? But no, yes, she's Irish because she brought that accent out in every episode of Touched by an Angel, which I
Okay,
watched.
good. I am not an ignorant man. I at least not in this thing. I know my Roma Downey a little bit. Like,
and she's also the mother of God in the Bible TV shows.
She and her husband produced that because they're very religious.
Okay. And that it should have been clear to me when she told Zoe that her dad went to university to train to be an astronaut.
Liberty University. It's cheeky of this movie to have her not believe in angels.
Yeah, but there's a little like wink.
Well, okay, so let's talk about that.
If your kid won't shut up about angels, you've done a bad job of parenting. Like that's their major thing. Angels, like just no, kid. We've done something wrong. You've gotten to the wrong place.
So that was a big thing that we talked about in the mini episode about how one of the IMDb keywords was belief in angels, but never angels. So I think that we're supposed to be led to believe that Del Campo is an angel, but they never fully confirm it, which I found interesting.
If he's not an angel, he needs to stop winking at that kid.
Yes. I think I wanted his big silver limo at the end to sprout wings.
Yes, that it's like a Santa Claus movie or something where Santa Claus is this old man and then he's a nobody and then his truck turns into a sleigh and he flies off
bells.
And it's like
and
it's like, oh, I was expecting him to sprout wings or a halo to pop up as he got into the car.
Heaven con this would be though. For what?
Gosh, it's so weird. Like so. Zoe wants a family for Christmas, but what she wants really is her actual dad, to come back and to live in a mansion.
Yes.
Why doesn't Del Campo make that happen then?
Well, because her dad sucked.
Yeah, well, it's not like Sam doesn't suck too.
But he's learning to love, and I don't know that Jerry would have caught his daughter if she fell out of a tree. I think he would have been like, my precious golf hands.
That is the most unsubtle, like, this man is more fit to be this dad because he fucking caught her as she fell plummeted from a tree.
They should have had both he and Jerry at the bottom of the tree, and she had to jump to the one that she loved more.
I sincerely thought until the very end, and I mean this without any disrespect, I thought, oh, maybe Roma Downey is one of those religious actors who won't, like, kiss other people.
Oh, yeah.
Because I just felt like it was going on so long without them kissing, which is usually, I mean, it's just a kiss. They weren't going to have a sex scene or anything in this they have Christmas movie.
They have just absolutely zero sexual chemistry.
None whatsoever. So, I mean, it's not a problem anyway.
Yeah. Like, and I don't know if that's me bringing their characters from other things to this movie or just my knowledge of them. But, like, I watched them like, no, they could become, like, casual friends, like, who call each other once a month, but that's it.
They could all still live together. They seem to be working that out pretty well, and it's a really big house.
It's a very big house.
That very polite kiss at the end where it's like, now we are a couple. Okay.
There's a part of me that wanted the whole movie to take place in the dollhouse from the beginning.
I was hoping so much that was just a model of the home that they were going into, and then you see inside, and there's like this bad green screen of this little girl's eye peeking in.
Oh, that was terrifying!
Like, oh, okay.
It's
like Gulliver's Travels. There's that Gulliver's Travels cartoon from like the 70s, or it's probably from like the 30s, but they used to play it all the time when I was a kid, and I thought it was from the 70s. And there's like a scene like that where it's just staring in.
I mean, it's like the equivalent of King Kong looking at Fay Ray, basically. But yeah, I was fully expecting it, and it's great at the end that she gets a dollhouse that looks exactly like the home that she's living in. If
this hadn't worked out, and by all rights in the world, if heaven hadn't come in on wings, it never should have worked out. If for no other reason than Dave's a piece of shit and nothing he touches should turn to anything besides garbage. Like, would she got for Christmas like a model of the whatever house she lives in currently or apartment?
Yeah.
Whatever this apparent spooky house was that her mom was going to put a down payment on.
Yeah,
her
what was
coworker
that
was
about?
like, what is this house? The Bates Motel. And it was like, geez, lady, she's trying to buy a house.
She says, so I will say that I watched this last night, and then the night before that, I saw Licorice Pizza, and both movies have references to Herman Munster in them. I can't escape him.
Yeah, there was nothing else about that. It was just, well, I guess I'm going to have to just save up $10,000 for my down payment on, I guess, a haunted house. Like, tell that story.
They never go to that house, do they?
No.
Yeah. I was hoping that we would see them staying in the haunted house and just what that meant.
They actually lived in like a really nice apartment in a pretty nice house. Like,
no, and they had her life was horrible.
That's right, because it's small.
They had all those cool neighbors, though. Like, everybody seemed to get together to have dinner and stuff.
That opening of Thanksgiving is the most blatant. Look, rich people don't have love in their lives, and
That's
therefore
right.
their Thanksgiving sucks, but he's going to get laid. There's that. But they're having a big neighborly Friendsgiving, and isn't that awesome?
It is better, but in Sam's defense, that lady was stacked.
She was about to fall out of that dress.
I couldn't believe how close she was to falling out of that dress on this movie.
Like, wow, no one stopped. Like, no one went, maybe we could just redo that. Nope, we're going to just leave it like that because she's the sexy one that'll never return.
No, so we did.
She had
for
secret
that,
kids.
Yes, that opening was great because it's cross-cutting between this woman feeding him cranberry sauce by dipping her hand into the bowl and putting it in his face.
So sexy.
And I wish that it had been the slices of the canned cranberry sauce that she's feeding him and not like actual cranberries. And then it's intercut with these, what I thought at first was an orphanage.
Me too. Yeah.
With these people having dinner. And it was a nice cross cutting for us to see where the rich people are really lacking. Like, they've got sexy cranberries, but they don't have real love.
Or a nice CRT in the kitchen. Do either of you buy Roma Downey as a factory floor worker?
As an Amazon worker?
I mean, we don't really get to see her do much of her job because she just kind of shows up, wraps something in bubble wrap, and then her daughter is at school like causing shit. So she has to
What do they
leave.
even do at that company?
Wrap things in bubble wrap.
Fill boxes full of packing peanuts?
Yeah. It's a proto Amazon.
Yeah, they're selling packaging, but they had to send it in packaging. Yeah, it's like Uline. They have a gigantic catalog.
They do. We get it at work, and I'm just always like, I'm
going
to look at this.
I went and bought boxes from the ones for moving, and I'm forever on their mailing list.
No, the worst mailing lists, I'm just going to say it, are archive supply companies.
Oh, yes.
They are desperate for you to buy more boxes from them. And I get them on my work email and my personal email because I've used that for stuff. And it's just like, oh my God. After conferences, they're like, Megan, it was great to talk to you. Don't you want to order stuff? Like, no, I don't.
Please buy our boxes.
Please.
So Kathleen works at this company that ships something. Not totally sure.
Her name is
what.
Kathleen.
Kathleen Russell is as accurate a name for this person as Roma Downey is.
But if you're going to name her Kathleen, there were points where I thought maybe she was supposed to be Irish, but then she was talking about how she always wanted to go to Europe. And I was like, well, I guess if you were from Ireland, you'd have been somewhere. Like,
there really is no reason for her not to be Irish.
Yeah.
Like, she could have just moved over. Like, she could have moved over to marry Jerry, and then Jerry left her.
Yeah, because wasn't Touched by an Angel on at this point?
Oh yeah, it had been on for a while.
Yeah,
she's at the height of her powers right now.
Yeah, people knew her. It started in 94, so it had been on for 3 years at this point. So people knew who she was. They knew she was Irish, and golf is very popular in Ireland.
They just, Touched by an Angel was so good. I'm looking at it through rose-colored glasses of my youth, but I just remember being
that's a show. Maybe that's a show. I've never seen it, so maybe that's a show we'll dip into sometime next year, Skinner.
Oh yeah, on our much hinted but and never outright said format change that we're clearly going to do, and it's clear what we're going to do.
Yeah, it's very clear. Hey, Megan, from knowing a little bit about Touched by an Angel, are there any particularly weird episodes? Because if so, we might have to have you back on to talk about one of those.
I'm pretty sure if it's not, I mean, I don't think it's the actual event, but there is one that is blatantly based on the Oklahoma City bombing.
Oh my God.
There we go.
Well, that's the one.
I remember that one very distinctly because I remember going, what?
So whatever they do at this warehouse factory thing, it is enough that there is a chance of them getting bought by a company in Mexico, right? Like,
yes.
So
yes,
something.
That's
is
time,
it a real company? Because I mean, it's owned by an angel.
Owned by an Angel's a great show as well.
That was a spinoff. It only lasted one season.
That's a novel I would read off Kindle Unlimited. Owned by an angel.
But like also like this angel had to have met with his buddy. Had to have met with the co-owner or whatever Dave is of Sam to set up this chain of events that lead to him helping Zoe.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like, and it had to be months in advance.
Or the angel killed the real DeCampo.
And that is also possible.
Oh, he's wearing DeCampo's skin.
Oh, there it is. Because I mean, angels don't really have form.
That's right.
The form they have is terrifying. So
yeah, got to bring it around to Penn at some point.
Angel's very big this year. So
yeah,
I just think it was so like height of NAFTA fears to really just pounce on this for this CBS.
What's it?
Sunday night movie.
I was 16. I wasn't really thinking about it.
I'm a little bit older.
So we find out that I think Kathleen and Sam, they have this like little encounter early on before they get to know each other where her shitty car breaks down right in front of his parking space and he's angry about it, of course. And this is, I think we find out, you already mentioned it, but he doesn't date women with kids. So the woman that he was having a fling with over Thanksgiving, which again, I think you mentioned this in the chat, but who has a one night stand on Thanksgiving? Like you're very full from food and just
There's
like
that, yeah.
It's just not a good like you don't have a full meal and then bone down.
A nice bloat hookup.
And it's also one of those holidays that on an episode of like Frasier, it would be a big deal because he forgot it was Thanksgiving and he asked this woman to dinner. And it's like, oh no, now it's like a big family event. Now she thinks she's my girlfriend, you know. Like,
but this is a great episode of Frasier.
That was everything that just happened.
But this lady basically didn't tell him until like they'd spent the entire weekend together, according to his friend, and then just she didn't bring up that she had kids until like the second or third day, which is,
I mean, she's clearly lactating.
Oh my God.
Jesus. I mean, okay.
Wow.
I was going to sit there. It's been a long week. But it's only Monday.
She's just trying to have a weekend. You know, Mama just wants some time off.
That's true. But like, Mama, it feels weird that she wouldn't at least mention that beforehand.
She's trying to get laid.
Okay.
But and mind you, she had to ditch her own kids on Thanksgiving.
But does that?
But
does that like someone who has kids trying to get laid? Like, shouldn't that seem like more of a sure thing? Because you know they've done it before.
Oh my God. I think I hear an angel on my shoulder saying, get out right now.
What are you, Quagmire?
Giggity, giggity. I haven't watched that show in a decade, so
no one has.
Sorry if he's very problematic now, more so than usual.
If
Quagmire is problematic.
more than usual. So anyway, the company is going to be sold to this company in Mexico. And of course we get a line from his friend Dave, whose name I could not remember, that everybody will get severance and get laid off and go on unemployment. And he's like, I wish I could be paid to sit around all day. It's like,
God. After they were playing racquetball, because of course.
Yeah. Did Fox News just begin?
What did he? How do you guys remember how he described women?
Yes, I do. Like peaches, smooth and pink on the outside and brown and rotten on the inside.
I mean, first of all, sir, I don't know where you buy your produce.
Yes. Those are all like blighted.
Ew.
I'm just like, what peaches is he getting? Like,
he watched your face off and was very confused by what that metaphor was. He was like, wait, what?
I wish Sam had just gone like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. Like, what, Dave? Shut up. I'm like, I don't. Oh, God.
I mean, Dave doesn't seem like he's having much in the way of luck and love either. Like,
but I think he's not even getting laid as much as Sam. So
I mean, he's getting some good close talking time later.
Oh, that's right. When they go out ice skating, with the woman who is interested in Sam at first, and then he turns her down, and so she goes to his friends.
Well, he takes his glove off and shows off that wedding ring. And she's
that's
like,
right.
Oh. At least it stopped her. At least they didn't try to paint her as like, oh, I don't care. Like, put the glove back on.
Put on the glove for some love.
I was trying to get there, but you got to it first.
Not even a pin this time.
So he gets a call from Del Campo, who brings up that he's excited to come to town. I don't know where they live. Is this
Whitesville? Were you guys like crawling into your own skin every time Dave like talked about Del Campo?
Yes,
oh, yes, because he kept saying comprende and
that
like
that
the whole
stuff.
Movie he does this.
Oh, that stuff was.
What was the
really
one that got
cringy.
me? Hasta Las Vegas.
Oh my God! Yes,
God.
Yeah, he says that in this scene because Del Campo mentions to Sam he's excited to see his family, and Sam plays dumb because his friend, his business partner, apparently didn't fill him in on the fact that, oh yeah, I told this guy's going to buy your company that you have a wife and kid.
Yeah, because it's very important. He likes to deal only with family men.
Yeah,
I mean, at some point, like if it was reality, and God knows this is not, like he could just say, "Wait, what? No." We'll find someone else. Like, what? Like, how did that happen? Why did you say that?
Yeah,
but yet, we get all the way through like the entire movie. The entire movie it goes through.
Yeah, it's very.
It really should have resolved some issues instead of none of the issues before the last minute.
Yeah, you would think that they would try to put
Space
those out,
it out a little bit,
wedge them into the last 5 minutes of the movie.
We have Chekhov's tree here.
Yes. So Kathleen has to go pick up Zoe from school because she took her hamster, it looked like a mouse, to school with her. And, Zoe's like, things were much better when Dad was here. And this is when Kathleen kind of says, well, Dad might not come back. So we don't know exactly what's going on with Dad, whether he's dead, whether he ran off with another woman. We have no idea. We'll soon find out. But we don't know for sure. And then this is when we start injecting all the angel stuff into this, where we find out from, what was the lady's name that lived with them? Or lived nearby their neighbor?
I don't remember because I thought it was Gretchen, but then she said something Bridget. Like
maybe it's Bridget.
The Irish one?
I think it's Bridget, played by Barbara Gordon. So Commissioner Gordon's daughter is here and tells Zoe that anytime you can hear music and there isn't any, that's an angel around. So it's not that you might have hit your head.
You can't just make up fucking lore to a kid randomly.
Well, this lady was already at Thanksgiving. She was doing the grace, but it was like a Mother Earth.
Yes,
God
you're right. I forgot about that.
Grace. So this lady's already like she's got crystals hanging from the ceiling. She believes in angels. She's right. Me. In
but
like 30 years.
You with Jane Lynch's hair.
Yeah, which no thank you. Yeah, apparently if you just start hearing little sparkle spangle noises, that means that there's an angel and not that you broke something.
Yeah.
If you hear non-diegetic sound, that means you hear an angel.
And Zoe thinks she hears some things, turns out to be wind chimes, but she hears that, thinks that it might be an angel nearby, so she wishes for her dad to come home and for them to get a mansion to live in. Not enough that your dad comes back, but I need that big old house. And this is when we get to a point that is very important. We must discuss it.
Oh boy.
Because it ties into a running joke that we had over Thanksgiving. And I'm so sad that, Megan, you couldn't be with us, but maybe one day next year or in a future year, we can all get together. That would be a lot of fun. So Sam comes home and he sees that, Dave has hired him a fake wife and a son to play his wife and kid. They're actors, of course. And we have to talk about this because when we were at Thanksgiving, we were talking about this movie, and I said it sounded very familiar. It sounded similar to a film called Rent-A-Kid.
Oh, fucking Rent-A-Kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I explained this to them. They had never seen it. Megan, have you ever seen this movie, Rent-A-Kid?
Yes.
With Leslie Nielsen, Christopher Lloyd. I watched that movie more than once as a kid, I will say. And it is based, for those who don't know, it's about a man who runs an orphanage. He goes on vacation and he puts his dad in charge, who played by Leslie Nielsen, who runs a rental company. He basically does like a Rax Rent-A-Center basically for children. So he rents children out to local families to let them try them out first before they commit. Yes, try before you buy. And one of the kids, the middle brother, is played by Cody Jones, and that is also the kid who is playing the rented son actor in Borrowed Hearts.
This is life.
And I bring all this up because when we were going through the cast of Rent-A-Kid, and I was like, oh, it's Leslie Nielsen, Christopher Lloyd, Matt McCoy. There's a lot of folks. We were scrolling through and we came across an actor by the name of Stinkfisher. And
that's right, Stinkfisher. I said it a million times over Thanksgiving dinner.
And that became a running joke because it was a ridiculous name.
Well, of course.
But yes, he is an actor named Stinkfisher. He's in The Lovely Bones from 2009.
Okay.
He's in a couple of football movies, Invincible and the Longest Yard remake.
Some chipper films.
Yes, he was on The Blacklist, Blue Bloods. He'd been in a bunch of random episodes of television. He was in Gulliver's Travels. From
the one with
2010.
Ted Danson?
No, the one with Jack Black. But in lots of just random stuff in random roles. He was in a couple episodes of The Sopranos. But yeah, one of his first roles was Rent-A-Kid, alongside Cody Jones, who is in this film for a hot second and tells our buddy Sam that he can spank him for $150.
Because the actress playing the wife says if he wants to do bedroom stuff, then it's $100 an hour.
Wow.
Which, okay, lady, woohoo. I mean, it's good to have like confidence in yourself.
Yes, but still, a little wild.
That's a significant amount of money. It's not the girlfriend experience.
Well, it depends on how long it takes Sam, but so maybe it's fine. But anyway, he is not. Sam is not interested in any of this. He does not like these people. He does not feel like they are right. for him. They don't seem very interested in being there, which is weird because they're hired to do this and they don't seem to give a shit about it. So that's something. But they kind of leave. They storm off. And it just so happens Kathleen and Zoe are driving by at right that moment, and she sees the mansion and, of course, believes that that is her dollhouse.
As a kid would at that age.
Yes, of course. And it causes them to stop the car. She jumps out and walks into this stranger's home. And
how could she even, like, why? First of all, why was she in the front seat? Kathleen, let's discuss that. I don't know how old she's supposed to be, but she's a very small kid.
7, I think, maybe.
Well, I mean, nowadays, I don't think you're supposed to be in the passenger seat of a car until you're like 23. But I think
the day that you can rent a car, that's the day that you can be in the front seat.
Like, yay, at last. Well, maybe it was just, I was going to make a terrible joke and I won't.
At least one of us decided not to.
No, I'm going to do it. Maybe it was this trauma because she was also in the suite hereafter. So maybe she doesn't like seatbelts.
God damn it.
I'm going to hell.
Believes in angels.
Oh.
So she just walks right up to this guy's house. I guess there's no gate or anything around this mansion. This was before the rich people had to further ensconce themselves and stay away from all the pores.
Neighborhood.
True, yeah.
So they're just set further back from the road. Yeah,
very true. And they go inside, and Sam is kind of immediately struck by Kathleen. Like, she walks in, he's just like kind of almost smitten with her right away, it seems like.
Mm-hmm. Well, he loves ladies.
That is true. Yeah, that is true.
That kid goes deep into that house. Like, she's several rooms in by the time her mom gets down the lawn. And it's like, okay, kid. Like,
so we've established she's impulsive. And we've also established that anything can happen.
Yeah. I don't know what I would do if my kid ran into someone's house randomly. One time my cat ran into someone else's apartment. But
I've had that happen, and I was both terrified for my cat and terrified for my just embarrassment.
Yeah.
She walks in very easily to this house as well, and also just seems very blasé about, like, my daughter has entered your house. And
we're real sorry about that. Oops,
rich person. Like, not just a house, a mansion.
Yeah, a mansion.
You see, it reminds her of her dollhouse. By the way, I'm not trying to rob you.
Yeah. There's too many people here for me to possibly steal. Sorry.
She realizes who he is. She says she works for him. And
what
so
a fucking huge coincidence, by the way.
Yeah, it's
I was glad they didn't try to make that into like a hidden thing, though. There was no point where he was just like, "Wait, you work at my factory?"
Oh yeah,
you know. So at least they skipped over all that, and she just full on was like, "Oh, I work for you at the factory."
They could have like added that into as one other reveal at the last 5 minutes as well.
Sure.
After he rescues Zoe, she goes, "Oh, by the way,
what do you think
factory?"
What do you think her coworker Carly thought when she was gone for basically 2 weeks? She just disappeared and didn't come back to work.
I don't know. And then she should have, I mean, honestly, at that point, she should have been like, "Oh, I'm sleeping with the boss. Like, he paid for me."
At some point, she has to, like, because she will be.
Will she? Will they be doing that? I don't know.
Well, they'll have a partnership.
Once they get married, then she'll finally be like, "All right, fine."
Maybe. She already has a kid.
I don't know. She has been thinking about him in his bed.
That's what I was going to say. It might be part of their kink for her to make him sleep in the closet.
She comes in and checks on him, and then she wonders. She lays in his bed, and she wonders. And it's like, oh my God, this is getting a little risque was probably on NBC.
I believe it was CBS, one of CBS's most watched TV movies of 1997.
Whoa.
That was I.
Wow.
My mom was probably watching this.
I wonder what the most watched TV movie of 1997 was on CBS.
That was still in that sort of late 90s period where we had a lot of miniseries. Had the aforementioned Gulliver's Travels, that one where like Whoopi Goldberg is a fairy.
Oh, that's is the 10th Kingdom in there somewhere?
No, that's okay.
That's a little too later, right?
That was not the 10th Kingdom. because I could have named everyone who was in the 10th Kingdom. If you were thinking John Larroquette, that's the 10th Kingdom.
Yes, but Whoopi was she was in the Alice in Wonderland TV movie. I do know that. There
is one, it was called like The Battle of the Elves or something, and she's in that. She's like a fairy queen.
Oh, I don't know if I saw that one. I definitely saw the Ted Danson Gulliver's Travels.
So good.
So did
the Sam Neill Merlin. So good. Chef
saw that. Definitely saw the 10th Kingdom. I loved that for some reason.
So good.
I was just obsessed with it.
It's coming back on like Twitter. Like a lot of people are bringing it up, and I'm like, yeah, here we are, finally.
Only took
20 years.
A couple of decades. 20 years. Josh, I think you'll be happy to note that the Wikipedia article on Borrowed Hearts, which inexplicably exists, only quotes a Variety review for it.
Okay.
So they say Hunky McCormack limbs, that's Limns, Sam, with an extremely light and humorous touch. When he's called on to emote, he successfully gives Sam depth.
Nope.
The lovely Downey and Elizondo don't have that much to do, but young Thesp Fruitman is fine.
Nope. Mm-mm.
Ted Koch's direction is snappy.
This is definitely one of those things that I would review with something along the lines of, everyone's doing a great job with what they have.
Yes.
They're not asked to have chemistry as a couple. Like I don't think it was part of the the resume for this one. Like I don't think they want them to, but also they never would. I just want you, next time you're doing a review for the spool that has a younger actor on it, to call them a young Thesp.
Okay, I will.
Yeah, bring some of that Variety slanguage into your writing.
I will do that.
So he lays out the deal to her, basically says, hey, for 2 days, I'll pay you $2,000 to pretend to be my family, get this deal through.
$2,000. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, seriously. She says no, and she's like, I'll do it for $3,000, which they balk at first, but then they're like, all right, fine, we'll do that, because they basically have no time because he's coming tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so they agree to do this. Zoe, she wants to confer with Zoe first, but of course Zoe is ready to live in a mansion, so she's all for it. So they come to the house to move in, and Kathleen starts saying like, hey, maybe we should change things up here to make it more family-like. And my thought was,
very bland rich guy.
It is, but my thought was like, couldn't they just change themselves to be a cold family for 2 days? Like,
yeah, there was no promise that it was going to be a nice Christmas.
Yeah, like, he's not supposed to spend that much time with them originally. When he spends the entire Christmas with them and gets gifts, that's weird.
Yeah,
but like, did Dave promised them that they were a happy, lovey-dovey couple. Like, rich people often aren't. So they could just be like, cool. They could say like, they get along, but not like they're fucking making out in front of this, the person they're trying to get $50 million from.
Yeah.
Well, they also later, when he asks how long they've been married, and she says 8 years, which was the agreed upon lie, and he says 12. They both just act as if, like, he's just like, oh, well, it feels like longer. Instead of just saying, oh, well, we've been together for 12 years. Like, people don't get married the minute they meet each other.
Roll with it, man. Yes, and take some improv classes, Sam.
Yeah, just say, oh, we finally got married after 4 years together. Ta-da. That's what I meant.
And this is one of the moments where Zoe just cuts an adult real deep, where she asks if the designer's face hurts because it's so tight. She is brutal.
She is, but I mean, this lady did produce a very bland Christmas tree.
Very true. So they start redecorating everything to make it seem more homey and family-like. They do all this very quickly. They get little makeovers and whatnot. I love
the biggest
people.
hair I've ever seen.
This giant beehive hairdo.
It really needed a musical number to this, though.
They did.
Yeah.
I love that everyone's like sitting.
Be my wife.
I love that everyone's sitting Roma Downey down, and I always want to add a junior there. Damn you, Robert Downey Jr.
Iron Angel.
But they sit Roma Downey down.
Romy. What are you, variety now?
The Romy fest.
Rome down. She sits down there like, just do something with her hair. It's such a mess. And you're like, she's a beautiful woman. I never
like a rich
understand
woman
that.
at all time. That's what Roma Downey Jr. looks like.
I give her like this face mask as if her skin is so like horrible. It's like
Yes.
she's been glowing this whole time.
Yeah. And so Del Campo arrives, and of course there is a little sparkling noise as he enters. So Zoe is stuck on the fact that this guy must be an angel. She knows it. And they all sort of chat. He meets them. He's very impressed by Kathleen and Zoe. And then, of course, this is when, and I'll let you kind of bring this in, Megan, since and Skinner too. You both have daughters. How would they react if someone asked how their parents met?
My daughter is 5. She would not care. Nothing happened before 5 years ago that's of any possible importance. She asked once if we got married on Valentine's Day because she thinks that's when people should get married. And when I said no, she was like, well, then I don't care.
Well, I was married on Valentine's Day, but Holly doesn't remember that either. She has, and like, she knows that like there must be some story behind it because we're from different countries. Mm-hmm. But it's of zero interest to her. Like literally anytime I mention like, hey, we were married 7 years before you were even born, she just looks at me like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Shut the fuck up. And just like walks off.
Yeah, basically. It's like, well, what were you possibly doing with your lives?
Like you were wasting your lives.
Well, we recently watched Sleeping Beauty, and that one's not like until the end with a kiss. There's not like a ton of romance. But after Once Upon a Dream, there's kind of this moment where Philip and Aurora are kind of just like kind of snuggling in the woods sort of thing. And my daughter just blasted her rubber chicken throughout that whole scene. Like, get back to the plot.
Like, I think, I don't know if Josh noticed because he was on the other side of the room, but when we were watching Pride and Prejudice with Holly.
Oh, I noticed.
Holly, anytime there was any romance, she would literally tuck into a small ball and hide behind Jody.
She did that during A Castle for Christmas too.
She did, but I kind of wanted to do that at times as well. Dunbar.
This would have been the perfect. This is the perfect movie.
Yeah,
zero romance, zero chemistry.
Yeah, she would just simply have been bored at it instead of just cringed at it.
Exactly. We need to get her a rubber chicken to blast during romance scenes.
So she would find that very funny.
See, so there you go.
Zoe doesn't do any of those things, though. She tells this wonderfully whimsical story about how an angel got them together because
she's got to shut the fuck up about angels.
It's like
that's why I think he is an angel, because then later when they're ice skating and she's like, he's an angel, he's just like, no, hey kid, how about you come over here and shut up.
But like it's a story about how they were at a restaurant or something, or she was at a restaurant, Kathleen, and then she felt a presence behind her and knew that it was the man that she was going to marry, but she was supposed to meet someone there, but it wasn't the person that she was supposed to meet. It was the person that she was supposed to marry.
Was his presence his hair?
I stopped listening, honestly.
Also, she does not at this point want her mother and Sam to get together. She wants her biological father to come back. Yeah. So why is she laying this on so thick?
Like it's so thick at times, and like we have so much of Kathleen like talking about like, oh, you'd be a great dad, and the whole fucking story about the baseball. But like to the point where she actually gets mad at them for having interest in each other. I'm like, oh, that's right. She just wants her shitty dad back, and then he comes back and makes her fucking cry.
Oh my God. So bad.
So everything's going great, and then for some reason Del Campo is just staying there with them, which is weird to me. Like, why does he not have a hotel? Why is he living in your house? That seems very unprofessional, honestly. Like, I'm doing a business deal with this guy. This guy does not need to live in my house. He can come for dinner, but then we can get him a car back to his hotel so he can have his downtime.
I've been very fortunate that when I've gone to like work conferences with coworkers that we've never had to share a hotel room because I would lose my mind. I'd be like, this is not anything I need to know about you ever. And I don't care.
What if one of them spent Christmas with you?
I mean,
all of it. The whole holiday.
Not a current. I mean, to be fair, one of a person that I did meet while we were working together is a very good friend of mine. So if like she wanted to come over at Christmas, that's fine. But not like a current coworker. I'm trying to think of any of them. I'd be like, why are you at my house? Thank you. No, thank you.
But because of this, Del Campo is staying at their place, and he decides to just hang out in the library and read a book. And of course,
the center of the rooms.
Yes, of course, this library is right across from Sam's bedroom, and Sam doesn't want it to seem like he doesn't sleep in the same room as his wife. So,
although people do that all the time,
sure, yeah,
especially rich people.
Yes, again, exactly. Yeah. They have to hide out in his room, and they kind of have a little bit of a back and forth where. They're trying to figure out who's going to sleep where, and she won't sleep in the same bed as him, but she's not going to sleep on the couch, and she doesn't want him even sleeping in the same room as her. So, so she sends him to the closet.
Yeah, the dressing room, please.
The dressing room, excuse me.
Because it's Downton Abbey. My issue with that is that her whole thing about him not even sleeping on the couch is that she keeps saying, what if my daughter comes looking for me and she finds us asleep in the same room? It'll confuse her. Why would your daughter be going to Sam's room? And we discovered later that if Zoe is having a nightmare or something is happening, she can yell real loud. So,
yes.
I mean, Del Campo can go take care of her if she's yelling. He's part of the family now. They're best friends. And at least we didn't have Del Campo be like, oh, I don't know about giving you this contract. I didn't hear any moans from the bedroom last night.
Doesn't seem to me like you two are very physical. Yeah, he's very close to their bedroom. Like, if you're having any kind of conversation, it would just be awkward anyway. Even if you were a happily married couple, it's like, I don't know if I need anyone hanging out 2 feet from my bedroom door.
Sam, we had company like the other day, and like the way my house is set up, it's like the living room is where we had the pull-out couch, and we took that, so we gave our main bedroom, which is attached to the living room, to the couple because they had a baby, and people with babies deserve better because their lives are miserable for sleep-wise reasons. Baby's beautiful, I love it, but like basically, like when it's nighttime, even with their noise machine and baby, I'm like, we can't talk about anything.
Oh yeah,
because everyone could hear everything, and the house is quiet, and we had nothing to say that would ever embarrass each other, but it was like, I just have to read.
Yeah, no, that's exactly.
Sam, I noticed I didn't hear any springs squeaking last night out of the bedroom. Is everything okay?
We're very rich. We have a very fancy mattress.
Just very, very absorbent. And also, I'm out of Viagra. Are we at Viagra jokes yet in 97? Or is that 99?
Oh, good point. I don't know. We could ask Bob Dole. Well, not anymore.
Bob Dole doesn't need this.
It's with the Angels.
Let me look up when Viagra started.
Thank you. Well, remember when you told me that he's coming on the Angels now? That's a really good segue joke for this movie about angels.
1998 it was approved for use. So it was patented in 96, approved for use in 98, but apparently it's been around since 89.
But when it started commercials, like if you want a slice of time, just go onto YouTube and just look up anything from that year, and you watch 10 minutes of selected of random clips from any talk show, almost any sitcom, you will get a Viagra joke. People thought that was so fucking hilarious.
We do get this weird thing. Like, I don't know exactly when in time this is. It's obviously not Christmas, but it's after Thanksgiving. But we see the next day, Del Campo's just cooked a big meal for them.
Get out of their kitchen, dudes.
Yeah, like they have a staff.
And it's weird too, because they're supposed to be doing a business deal, right? Like they're supposed to be doing some sort of contract, and it feels like they don't even bring anything up about that. And then like
the deal is done. He just has to prove that he's a good dad and husband.
But like he leaves without
he's foreign and he's old school.
But he leaves without signing a contract.
Yeah, initially, right.
Until he comes back. So,
his contract is to screw the workers.
Yes, destroy the company and put a bunch of people out of work. And so at this point in the movie,
love capitalism.
just ask prosperity churches.
I mean, you're not wrong. The heaven is paved with streets of gold.
And behind the walls of heaven, there's tons of cash.
Right behind the bathroom.
That's why we all got to get there very soon.
There's always money in the banana stand.
Don't take that vaccine. So we cut here to Zoe's real dad, Jerry, being alive. Out of nowhere.
This 4 times, and mind you, I could barely. I've been so tired this week. I could barely. Once again, it's only Monday, but I could barely concentrate on this movie anyways. But I'm like, who the fuck is this? Because it looks like a skinnier Dave. It's just another Canadian face.
It looks like a very young Conan O'Brien.
And he's introduced like we're supposed to know who this is. Like, it's Jerry. Like, no, I don't know who this is.
Yeah, it's stupid. He hustles some guys out of some money until they find out through a dumb friend of his that he sees that he is actually a golfer. He's got kicked off of a tour, we find out. And so
why does his friend talk like that to him?
I don't know.
Yeah. Hey there, Jerry. How's it going? Missing you on the tour.
Missing you on the tour.
Where we play professional golf. You are a professional golfer. You play golf professionally.
So they kick him out of the club, and he gets in the cab. It's pretty funny. Like the cab driver's like, "Where to?" He goes, "I don't know, the bus station." He goes, "Where are you headed?" And he's like, "Home." It's like, just take me to the bus station. Our transaction is over.
No, thank you, sir. I don't have to tell you that.
Like, if he told someone like, "I want to go to the other bus stop to connect to a different line," or something, like, where do you really want to go to? Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, if there was a difference, like if it's like the terminals at an airport, if he's like, okay, I need to get to the United terminal, then okay, fine. But I'm pretty sure this bus station is just the one bus station.
Yeah. So Del Campo, as we already mentioned, decides to just stay until the negotiations are complete. So at least another 2 weeks.
Dave is totally cool with this. Well, once again, Dave is a piece of shit.
And this is very, again, sort of Downton Abbey, because I feel like that's a lot more, we have this giant house in England and everyone could just come and stay, and it's like business associates and cousins and everyone, but we don't do that here. I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't do business at my house.
And at that point, it took a little longer to get places, and like, it wasn't as easy to travel, so it would make sense, but like he could just go to a hotel for 2 weeks. Like, he doesn't need to stay there. But
that they could pay for.
Yeah.
Like, he could expense everything instead of hanging out with Sam's cartoon staff.
Yeah. So we get here that Del Campo's hanging out way too much, playing Twister with Zoe.
Weird.
Don't play Twister with the kid.
Very strange.
Like yourself, like just a stranger and your kid.
Like, if this were her uncle, that would be one thing, but this is some strange man she met 2 days ago, and they're just like best friends.
How often in the history of humankind has this particular thing happened during an attempted buyover of a company? I'm going to buy a company, but first I got to play Twister with your daughter. But I legitimately mean that in the actual phrasing, like literal meaning of what I'm saying.
Yeah, don't worry, that's not like weird code for anything.
Yeah, I'm not a creep.
I love to play Twister with kids.
So they make Sam's trying to do some work, but he can't concentrate because they're having too much fun. So they call him down to play Twister. And of course, he and Kathleen play together and they get very close. I'm pretty sure he puts his hand on her ass. I can't really tell, but there is a movement where he has to put his hand somewhere, and they both seem very surprised where it lands.
I feel like Jesus himself would smite him for touching Roma Downey's ass.
He's just like, nope,
no,
what is happening there?
No, not that one.
You were not wed.
The porn version, of course, was touched by an angel's ass.
I think it was just still touched by an angel.
True, yeah. Stroked by an angel.
This ain't touched by an angel.
XXX, yes, of course. this is when we get our like kind of a little bit of conflict here, where Zoe is hanging out in Sam's office, messing things up. She apparently went through and chopped up all of his Cuban cigars into little bitty pieces. She ends up spraying seltzer everywhere and breaks a big seltzer bottle, which those things are very silly to me. I just can't imagine anyone other than clowns having those. But he of course gets very mad at her, yells at her, tells her that she needs to be learn some boundaries. And
he's not wrong. Why was she going through his desk?
Yeah, she did mess up a lot of things, but Zoe, of course, rebuts, "You're not my dad," and runs off. And this, of course, causes Kathleen to sort of call off the deal. And it's getting really dicey here. At some point here, Jerry also shows back up and talks to Bridget at the old place and wants to know where they are. And of course, she gives him the information because it's an emergency. Thanks, Bridget.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but I mean, Sam was. You can't just yell at someone else's kid. That's fair.
No, for sure.
She was not behaving.
Yes.
That is not how you behave at someone else's house.
Both things can be true.
Yeah. It's like, you can be mad at Sam for yelling at your kid because, you, I guess, didn't discuss how you were going to play any of that. But also teach your kid not to go through people's desks.
Or walk into their houses or put mice.
Well, yeah, I think.
You can't, you have to like, it's like when a kid, you see a kid on the airplane and it's clearly the first time the parents have ever tried to tell the kid to do anything and it just doesn't work all of a sudden. Like, oh, you have to sit in one spot for a couple hours and wear this mask and wear a seatbelt. And the kid's like, no, because I've never been told to not do something. And the parents are like, well, I guess kids just can't be told what to do. It's like, no, you should have been doing this to Bubba or Buddy or Angel Puss for fucking 4 or 5 years before this point.
Today, we told our daughter to clean something up and she was doing it, but very begrudgingly. And she kept trying to insist that my husband help her. And he's finally, because it was a lot of stuff. He was like, I will do this part, but you have to do that part because that's like the bigger thing. And so he put like, something in the right box. And she said, I knew you had it in you.
She's a treasure. And she's
like,
going to be the head of the household within 5 years.
Like, oh my God. On the one hand, hilarious. On the other hand, do not know what, how.
I mean, she won, but not just not only in the moment, but in the larger picture.
It's like, where did this come from? Why do you sound like a kid on a Disney TV show? Like, sassy.
She's got you right where she wants you.
Yeah.
So they go back to their place, which is weird that Jerry's not just there waiting for them, but he's gone to the mansion. It is what it is. And Sam shows up pretty much immediately to apologize and asks what he can do. Zoe's like, well, give me a pony. But
we never see that pony, though. So.
No, we don't. It would look like the pony in Rhapsody Street Kids, just frozen dead-eyed on the lawn.
Oh, God.
Zoe apologizes for her part, messing up things. She did mean to. And Sam notices Kathleen's art, says she's really good. Looks kind of like hotel art to me, but whatever. And she says, this is where she says she wanted to study in Paris. But obviously it didn't work out because Jerry left. And so she's just kind of changed her life to be all about Zoe and make sure that she's doing the things that will help Zoe. And
I mean, she could.
Okay, but also like you can do a couple things for yourself sometimes.
Sure.
Yeah, like it's that's not super healthy. Like I know it's portrayed like, she's being the real adult versus Sam, but like she's not self-actualizing in the slightest.
No, she has everything that she does, whether it's, working to save up to buy this house or giving up her painting, the haunted house, or anything, pretending to be a man's wife is, it's all for Zoe. It's all for Zoe. It's like, well, you're allowed to have something for Kathleen, which is why I kind of wanted them to at least make out once.
Yeah. Or like, she could just like, hey, like we could use this money. Like I would like a nicer house as well. My job isn't fun. Like, just say like, hey, like, yeah, being a parent is part of when you're a parent. Being a parent is basically part of everything you do. Mm-hmm. But you don't tell everyone that all the time, like, because that's it's no one gives a shit. Like you may want them to,
my child,
but also like, hey, you have a lot of hours during the day. Like you can just go on YouTube sometimes and watch funny videos. Like that's not for Zoe.
Your kid might not think you're allowed, but you actually are.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have painted each other. That would have been something.
There was those movies in the 90s.
Yeah. So this is when Jerry does something here that is very like this is a problem, and it never really gets addressed, and it's something. So he approaches one of the staff that works at Sam's place. Is her name's Amanda, right? Is that right?
Her name is Maid.
They have names? This is odd. Yeah. I don't know.
The staff have names?
She does not have a name in the credits, which is kind of a bummer. I'm fairly certain it's Amanda, but he approaches her, and immediately she kind of starts spilling the beans about everything because he tells her that he is a plainclothes police officer.
Yeah.
So,
which is all he says. She says, "Are you a police officer?" And he just nods and goes, "Plainclothes."
So he pretends to be a cop to get some information about this guy, and apparently he tricks some other people because he gets more, or he just gets more information from this worker here, because he knows all about the deal that's going through and all this other stuff when he approaches Sam later. So
first he watches them creepily from his car with that kind of under-face lighting that you only get when you're spying on someone in a car.
That's right.
Only framing your face as you stare.
And this is when we have them going out ice skating. Sam is, of course, having a hard time with this. His dad, in addition to not teaching him how to catch, also didn't teach him how to ice skate. But he works with Zoe and he gets through it, and things are great. And there's a scene here where Del Campo and Kathleen are skating, and she talks about how she feels very good skating and has never fallen down. And then does Del Campo push her over or something? I was very confused.
He kind of just lets her trip and fall so that he's just like, don't be too confident. Like, what the? He's an Old Testament angel.
Yes.
But she looks up at him like, not in what happened, but just this weird, this moment is what is going on. Like, it just is her facial expression. I couldn't quite read. It wasn't a shock that I fell.
Yeah.
I've just learned a lesson from this guy.
That's so weird that I just said I never fall. And then I fell, and I think you made it happen.
You slew-footed me? What happened?
He tripped her with his wing.
They wear their wings under their skin.
That's right.
Oh.
Under their skin.
I wish he had.
Stop saying.
I wish he had this would never happen in a TV movie, but I wish he'd split apart and been one of those accurate angels with all the eyes and weird rings floating around them. So that night, Zoe wants to get tucked in by Sam, and this is where she does not
want to be her dad.
No, she tells Sam
she wants
that
to be tucked in by him.
Her dad is an astronaut, of course. And then she also reveals here that she knew there was a gift that Kathleen had given her that she said was from her dad, but was actually from her mother. She doesn't want her mother to know that she knew because she wants her to, not feel bad. And she, Sam tries to comfort her about her dad not being around, and she wonders if she's maybe unlovable.
Yeah, that was pretty heart-wrenching.
It was very deep, and he's like, no, it's just some people it's easier for them to love and give love, and she's like, did your dad love you? And it's just it brings on it. it is almost like a couple more seconds and he would just be bawling. Like his eyes are welling up with tears as he tells her this story.
There's really, at this point, like where she has these doubts and stuff, it's like her mom has done a really shitty job of doing everything for her. Like she says she does, because she's let her think dad is gone for no reason.
Yeah.
Which gives doubt to why dad isn't there. Like, but pretending that they're still together, but they're still married, but he's away with his job and avoiding the family. Thus, it could be anyone's fault.
Sam tells her the story about playing catch with his dad and how he prayed to catch this ball that his dad threw, and of course he didn't. It slipped, and his dad was disappointed, and basically they never played catch again, which is really brutal. Like, that is brutal.
That is, imagine, especially like, considering that it was the wrong size glove.
Yes.
Also, like, as a dad, like, who could give a fuck? Like, you disappoint me. You didn't catch the ball. I'm like, boy, is this like?
Isn't that like a point of pride as a dad to be like, all right, well, you didn't catch it, so let's practice more. Let's make you catch it this time.
It felt in a weird way, considering the movie is not this at all, that it was almost like some kind of weird gay panic from his dad.
Yeah, like he can't play baseball. Oh my God, he's gay.
Yeah, he's not a real man because he can't catch a ball.
Yeah,
he had a vision, and that vision was Will and Grace.
And then he grew his hair out in to show his dad.
So she tries to comfort him, and it's a good little moment. They have a bonding moment here.
But she does not want him to be her dad.
But yeah, she does not want that to happen. She just wants to live in his mansion. So
she's like, I guess you can have my mom. I don't care. I just want my dad in this mansion. I'll swap you.
Bunch of other stuff happens.
I wish she had suggested that. Like, you move out and I stay here.
Yeah.
That would have been something. So around this point, they're doing a deal. Jerry approaches Sam and basically says, like, hey, I know what you're doing. I know that you've got this thing going on. I want money to stay quiet and basically not ruin this deal that you've got going. So I want $20,000. Sam says, I'll pay you after Christmas. You got to be quiet, and you can't contact your wife and kid until that time. I was really unclear if that deal ever went through. Did he have to pay him?
No, because
didn't he blow it?
At the end, he kind of just. I think he undoes it when he goes and gets him for Christmas.
Oh, okay, yeah, I guess that is like you're seeing them before Christmas, so no money for you, sir.
Also, like $20,000 to not screw up a $50 million deal. He could have asked more.
I mean,
no one in this movie knows how to negotiate.
No, because when she finds out that they have to stay for 2 more weeks, how much does she ask for? $10,000?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
once again, out of $50 million.
Yeah, you could have gotten a lot more for that. Like, you could have said $50,000. I mean, if you really wanted to play hardball. They're at work the next day. I think there's somewhere, I think that's what it is. Kathleen overhears the deal and finds out that it's a sale, not a merger, and that lots of people will lose their jobs. So she gets real pissed off, and does have a pretty good line about he's like, oh, it's just work stuff, honey. You probably wouldn't be interested. And she's like, oh, I'm sure my feeble woman brain could figure it out.
Yeah.
And I was like, good for you, 97. Like, you let her say that, which was pretty surprising to me.
Is she executive producer?
Yes.
Probably. So yeah, okay. Of course. So this is what leads her to getting pissed off and basically taking a feast to the floor at work and basically giving everybody a bunch of food and champagne and letting them all kind of have a bit of a party.
It's a revolt.
Nice.
It is a bit of a revolt, and she wants because
the way guy said that was the weirdest line reading of the movie.
Oh, that guy's in so many things. He's a character actor that I've seen in tons of stuff before, and I cannot think of what his name is because he doesn't have an IMDb photo for some reason, even though he's been in
a name.
Tons of stuff. it might be James Main Prize. I don't know, which is a great name. If it's not him. That's right. Stinkfisher and James Main Prize. But she wants basically Sam to see all of these people that he's going to put out of jobs, like a pregnant woman who's working.
She is trying to not let her coworkers know that this is a possibility. And so they just think that Sam is at this party because, he's being a cool boss and showing up at the party. And yet she's introducing them all as like, oh, yeah, this is Corinne. She's very pregnant. She shouldn't even be working, but she's saving money for the baby. Like, okay. This is Carly. She has 3 jobs because she wants to be a nurse. And it's just like, don't introduce me like that.
Yeah, it's a weird one. And like, also, why would they think that he was doing this? Because it doesn't seem like he's ever done anything like this before. So did he get visited by 3 spirits or something? Like, what's happening? And he is very mad about this because he's not happy to be confronted with all of these people. And this is when they have their like one big real fight during the whole thing. And he says that she's kind of impossible to deal with, and that's why her husband walked out on her, and she says that he can't let go of his failure to his father, and that's what he's trying to do. And this is when we get the great line of him asking if she doesn't think about him while she's in his bed, which he says it very close to her face, and it was
are right in front of each other, in front of this, like, at first I thought that she worked in like a Home Depot.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
But yeah, they're very close. And he's basically like, well, I think you have feelings for me. And she says, no, this is just, I don't at all. And that's what he's just like, oh, so when you're laying in my bed at night, like tossing and turning, like, whoa.
Yeah.
Sam. Sir.
If I was her, I'd be like, are you sneaking out of the closet when I'm sleeping?
Are you watching me sleep? Please don't.
Please, no, like we had a deal.
She confesses that she does wonder, which, I mean, wink.
Yeah,
I guess about him, sure.
She's just edging this whole 2 weeks.
Oh,
like I wonder what that hair would feel like just stroking down my back.
What are you? You know what? Don't tell me.
Like she wants to be what they're like on the cover of the box art with their hairs intertwined, connected together.
So romantic.
And everybody sings to "He's a Jolly Good Fellow" because they probably couldn't get rights to any other music. It's on his birthday, so.
It's your birthday today. It's not happy birthday.
They could have sang like Feliz Navidad or something.
Well, they do say that plenty of times. And there's some Spanish guitar when he's making them that meal.
And
Jesus Christ.
We're getting close to Christmas Day here, close to the end of the movie. Thank God. And Sam remembers on Christmas Eve, I think, that he forgot presents, so he's got to run out and get a Turbo Man doll, and he's got to make sure that
the back of a skeleton of a dinosaur.
Yeah, some sort of dinosaur skeleton. Zoe will love this.
When they set everything up, they bought Zoe 12,000 presents to make up this bedroom. So honestly, I'd be like, sorry, kid, like you're getting one big one. Like that's how it works.
Also, like you've had to spend like a month with your new uncle Del Campo, and you live in a mansion now. Perhaps Christmas will be a little bit different this year. Don't expect a present. We're saving for a house.
Yeah,
and your dad's an astronaut, and I lie to you all the time.
They do almost kiss here because Kathleen comes down and they kind of talk and
they just fought.
They just fought, but they apologize to each other.
Yeah.
And she tells him about her favorite Christmas was one where she got this really cool paint set, and that kind of ignited her love of painting. And he says, very sadly, "This is the best Christmas I've ever had." That's a bummer.
Yeah.
Rich people don't have it all, apparently.
That's so, I mean, but that is a very common like, I don't know if I'd even call it a trope necessarily, but like that comes up a lot in romance novels, especially when people have fake relationships, which is, this is the happiest I've ever been, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're saying it to the other person, and sometimes it's like an internal realization where they're like, oh no.
Yeah.
I think this is real.
And they're about to kiss each other, but Zoe wakes up and cock blocks them.
She's at the top of those stairs just yelling.
I see you.
Stop it right now.
What are you doing to my mom?
Daddy can see you from space.
Put that away.
There's no possibility that they could pick up where they left off once she gets Zoe put back to sleep. Like, no. Like, sorry, this was our moment.
Yeah, it's never going to happen.
Back to your closet.
Yeah, we're just going to toss and turn the rest of the night. just raging horny. And so the next morning, it's Christmas Day. Zoe screams and wakes up everybody and is immediately disappointed that her dad is not hanging out, hiding behind the tree, waiting to surprise her.
Weird.
Like, why did you think he would be there? You know that this entire thing is to fake out Del Campo that this is your dad.
Yeah, she's in on it.
Yeah. So the fact that she's standing right in front of Del Campo, like, well, I didn't get what I wanted for Christmas because what I wanted was my dad. Dachshund.
It's so weird that she's old enough to be in on this complex scheme, but she isn't old enough to tell her that her dad left the family.
Yeah, she was expecting to come down Christmas morning and have like her dad sticking out of the tree like Woody the talking Christmas tree or something.
Thank you for bringing up a hero.
Yes, did that just for you. Back this year, after being kept in a tomb or something, escaping his crypt, he's returned.
They've released him. They found enough sacrifices.
But yeah, but Del Campo in his angelly wisdom tells her that maybe you did get exactly what you wanted. You just got to open all your presents first. And there is a moment that I found genuinely sweet here where she gives Sam his present, which is a baseball glove.
Yeah.
And she says it will definitely fit because she measured it off of one of his gloves. I don't know how that works, but okay. And he is, he's genuinely touched, and he says it's the best gift he's ever gotten. It's a very sweet little moment.
Yeah, no, it was.
Yeah, it fits his hand perfectly, just like her mom's ass. Sam gives Kathleen some nice paints so she can try to paint again, which is really nice.
I'm so glad that they actually sprung for a prop that was at least looked like decent paints.
Yes,
it wasn't just, she didn't just open up a box and it was watercolors.
It was he got her a Bob Ross set.
Yeah,
and she's like, "Wow, thanks." And Zoe gets Del Campo like a magic wand or something, a walking cane.
It's a walking stick.
Looks like it came from Ollivander's. It's very gnarled and like cool looking.
That's always, I will say that's always a thing in movies where if somebody shows up randomly on a holiday, people are always able to produce presents for them at the last possible minute. And they're always nice presents. It's never like, this is a candle that we haven't lit yet.
Yeah, I just scraped the price tag off of it.
It takes usually about 2 years of constant contact for an in-law to get a decent gift, let alone somebody who just you don't know who just showed up.
Yeah, if somebody just appeared at my house on Christmas morning, it would be like, I hope you like Frozen, because here is an Elsa that my daughter hasn't played with in a while.
So I know I mentioned earlier who I couldn't remember Dave's name, and this is proof positive because in my notes I say Ralph shows up with the contract.
Yeah, how dare you slander the only Nova Scotian actor in the movie?
I'm very sorry, but I could not remember his name to save my life.
You were getting it confused with A Christmas Story.
Yes. He gives a pin as a gift to Del Campo. I already talked about that, how I don't really like those as gifts, but whatever. And he's like, well, we should just sign it right now. We should just get it over with. So Del Campo signs, hands over the pin, and Sam hesitates because he knows, how important this is, and he's starting to feel things for Kathleen, and he doesn't want to disappoint her by firing everyone that she works with. And he says, I actually don't do business on Christmas. So we're not doing it today. It can wait till tomorrow. And this is when Del Campo gets real creepy because he says, hey, you're standing under the mistletoe. So you know what that means. Get to smooching.
Just start doing the tongue twister.
Please don't.
He smiles while he watches, and Zoe is very angry about this. She is not happy to see these adults kissing.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't either, frankly.
Yeah, but also,
still, I mean, it's fair because again, she's not been told that, hey, your dad's not involved. He's not probably coming back. I'm moving on, and that's kind of Kathleen's fault. But
especially where Kathleen isn't holding a candle for him at all either. She's completely not in love with him. So like at some point, just say something that. Your daughter is wishing to angels every day that he comes home and your family is complete again. You've messed up. You have messed up. And there's no point in the movie where Steve ever goes like, Jesus, I made a fucking mistake.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's never portrayed as such.
Like, I don't have a lot of experience with that life. Like, my parents aren't divorced. But it's weird how, in a lot of movies, it's just always, it's like, well, I guess we just won't say anything to our kids. And it's like, I think they're going to notice.
Yeah, we'll just pretend to still be together, even though I haven't seen you in 6 months.
The most realistic, honestly, portrayal of like a divorced parent talking to their kid about it is weirdly enough in The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Because there's a part where Regan's just like, well, do you still love my dad? And she's like, well, of course I do. We just can't be married.
Yeah, that's an easy thing to say. I mean, it might be hard for Zoe to get it, but like eventually she would.
Yeah.
I mean, she can't even tell her that she can't live in a fucking mansion that's shaped like her dog.
Yeah.
Very true.
You can't just walk into people's homes.
So she runs off, and Sam is like, well, I got to do something about this. And he heads off and comes back with Jerry. I don't know where Jerry was staying, but he found him. Yeah, he found him on the side of the road. He comes back. Yeah, and
he was hustling people at mini golf.
And of course, Zoe is very happy. And Sam comes clean with Del Campo and basically tells him the truth. And Del Campo doesn't seem too disappointed. He's like, yeah, I get it. He's like, but you gotta
waste like a month of my life here.
Yeah, he's like, you gotta think with your heart, not your head. And that's all the lesson this movie cares to impart, I guess. And of course that works because Sam decides not to go through with the deal. He's like, I can't do this to my employees. I can't do this to Kathleen. And so Del Campo's like, well, we have nothing more to discuss. I'll be leaving.
Bye.
And just goes. And then his partner here, Dave, is like, well, we got it signed.
Ralph.
We could just sign it.
Yeah. Or he's like, well, we've got the signed contract right here. It's like, Dave, you're not getting the lesson.
Yeah,
of this film.
He rips up the contract, and it's all done. And now we see, Jerry with Zoe, and she's like, Kathleen comes out and's like, how long are you planning to stay, Jerry? And he's like, well, I'm leaving tonight. So
trying to get back on that tour.
And she's disappointed, but he they have a little heartfelt moment here where he's like, you're the best thing that ever happened to me, but I'm not a good dad, so goodbye.
Well, at least he knows it.
Balls.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty sad for this little kid.
I think she was cast on that. They were like, we need you to cry. Can you cry?
Yes.
And she's like, let's see it.
And he leaves in the limo, goes off to wherever he's going. And Zoe, of course, Deus Ex tree, she runs off to climb this big tree in the front yard, gets pretty freaking high pretty quickly. Like she's got a history in American Ninja Warrior competitions. But Sam and Kathleen run over, try to get her down. She slips and she's hanging on this branch. And when they cut to the shot of her way up in the tree and you see like Eric McCormack in the foreground, is that a doll? How did they do that?
even when they show him and Kathleen reacting with the snow in the background, it's green screen. Like they're not even in front of like fake snow.
I was just wondering if they like made a doll up and put it on a tree branch
sure they did.
and swung
That's
it
not
around.
A real person. They didn't even want to hire a stunt person.
And he's like, I'll catch you. And of course, in the back of her mind, she's like, no, you won't. You dropped a baseball. You won't catch me. But he's like,
I don't
no.
trust dads.
But I got it. I can do it. And so
he says he loves her.
He does. He does say he loves her here. And she falls, flails her arms and legs around.
Terrible fall.
She
terrible
falls
fall.
in love with him.
And of course, he catches
her really hard. Like she might need to get her neck looked at.
She should go to the doctor.
The next scene, she's in a full body cast.
And Sam should turn to Kathleen and go like, see, you really should have fucking told the truth. What did this accomplish?
This is a perfect moment for an Arrested Development, and that's why you tell the truth.
That's why you don't fake a marriage.
And so they kiss here, and of course they go back into the house, and everything is great.
It is not a dramatic kiss.
No,
whatsoever.
it's a sweet,
like,
chaste
hello.
kiss. It's like, hey, maybe we could try this out. We'll build up to it. And then we cut to the dollhouse. Of course, looks exactly like the home she's in. And I don't know when this is taking place, if this is like a day later, the same day. It's unclear, but she hears some noise, some little tinkling, and she goes and looks outside, and Del Campo's there in a limousine, and he waves at Zoe and tips his hat to her and winks. And then, basically is revealed to be an angel without revealing that he's an angel. I mean, it's clear that that's what they're implying. But again, his car does not grow wings and does not fly off into the heavens, which is disappointing.
Yep. And
I want the scene where she goes to work later. It's like, they're like, where the fuck have you been? You were gone for 2 weeks. You showed up and gave a party and you were really familiar with the boss we never talked to. She's like, oh, that's right. I'm never coming back to work because I now live with that boss. And also I'm probably getting married to him.
Yeah.
Like,
sorry.
They're like, yeah. Like, can you imagine all her coworkers who are working 3 jobs? Like, oh, okay.
Like, should have gotten a beehive hairdo and played some Twister.
Which
we're gonna go to HR about this.
Yeah. Is there like a fraternization rule?
This feels
appropriate.
This feels really inappropriate. And then even if she's like, oh, no, it was part of a deal for him to sell the company. Like, oh, that's very inappropriate.
Yeah. And she does a couple of times remind him, like, I need to know that I'm going to have my job when this is all over.
Yeah.
So at least she's thinking that far ahead. And he's not just going to be like, well, get out of my house.
Well, at this
Very
point,
true.
though, now, if this continues well, and like, if it doesn't, she's really, really screwed up Zoe by like, lying about her real dad. And then like, this guy is now your new dad. Also, it didn't work out. We just knew each other for a couple weeks. Like that, if it does work out, like, she doesn't need a job back anymore. She's now ungodly wealthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that is the movie. That is Borrowed Hearts. I didn't mention this up
Dad's
top.
gone forever.
But Megan, you are the one who brought this to our attention. You said this was one that you would like to talk about, so I'm actually very glad that you did. It was a fun one to watch because it wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
But it was also very fun to discuss with you. So I'm very happy that that you picked this for us. You do a lot of work. We already alluded to the fact that you work on the spool, and we also have talked about a podcast that you do with a good friend of ours. So please plug away anything that you would like to.
Yes. So I co-host with Bo North the podcast Let's Get Weirding, a Dune podcast. We discuss Frank Herbert's Dune series chapter by chapter. Right now we are on Children of Dune, but we're almost done with that, which means next is God Emperor, which is very exciting for everyone, I'm sure. We have discussed the movie at length, so if you are just being introduced to Dune right now because you happen to see the movie, like please join us. Come on in. It's fine. We're fine. And yes, and I also write over at thespool.net. I review movies and TV, and I'm very excited because coming up, I get to review The Book of Boba Fett.
Ooh.
And I love Star Wars, so woo!
Exciting. All right. Awesome. Skinner, you got anything?
My daughter really enjoys the marketing material clothes from Let's Be Weirding.
Yes.
All right. Oh, yes, that's right.
I did stop her. She was going to wear the Tread Without Rhythm t-shirt to school. And then it occurred to me that from a distance, that would be a hard joke to really explain. And she should perhaps wear a different t-shirt that day.
That is, yeah. We're very proud of that, parody, as it were. But yeah, it's from a distance.
To me, from a distance, it's hard to explain a parody. But
exactly.
I see people in the parking lots after school who are not doing parody versions of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about the only baseball cap that we own in this house is a free one I got at a Washington Nationals game, which means that it's red with white writing.
Right.
Oh no.
So we don't wear that one.
Yeah, probably for the best. Thank you again, Megan, so much for joining us. It was so fun to talk to you, as it is every time. And we hope that you and yours have a wonderful holiday season. Christmas is coming; it's going to be here soon. And until next week's mini episode, where we kind of maybe lay out what exactly we are planning to do with this show in 2022 and beyond. I've been Josh.
I've been Skinner.
And I've been Megan.
And we predict you'll join us next time. Merry Christmas, all those who celebrate. I couldn't have said that in a weirder way, huh?
Merry cheese, miss. Keep it cheesy.
If you like the show, subscribe, rate, and review us over at Apple Podcasts. We're on Twitter and Instagram at predictocast, and you can find our entire back catalog at predictocast.com. Our theme music is by Kyle Sledge. Find more of his work at soundcloud.com/geistmusic. As always, thanks for listening.